You know, sometimes somebody says something goes right in your brain and never leaves? Never left for Pat. So Pat would take these players and he would push them so hard in practice. His goal was make practice 5 times harder than the toughest game. Why does he want to do that? If I can make this the most brutal thing in your life, and I can do it 4 or 5 times, by the time you get to a game feels like it's easy. And where games are won and lost are often in that last quarter because people are out of condition or exhausted or things get tough. That's how Pat has built the teams he's built. But in the old days, a coach could tell you to do anything, run through that wall, and you would do it. But in the modern world, you tell an athlete who gets $19 million a year to run through a wall, he doesn't even want to fly on your plane. He has his own Gulfstream. Why do I have to fly with a team? It's a different universe than it was back in those days. So Pat, back in the Lakers, the changes are starting to happen. He pushes these guys, and they're willing to push. But when you lose everything you worked for a year, and you leave your soul out on the court, and you lose, people hate that. It's one thing to lose. It's another lose when you feel like you gave what? Everything. So the next year, 1985, if I remember correctly, Pat goes out and he tells the team, look, we have to get 25% better. If we're going to win the championship, if we're going to do this, we got to get 25% better. Now, when he said we got to get 25% better, we're going to increase our workouts, we're going to increase all this 25% more. What do these guys think in their head? You tell me. There's no effing way. There isn't 25% more in me. And they started to push back. And he got annoyed and pushed back on them, and all of a sudden there was a loss of rapport. So Pat comes to me and said, I've never had this. It's like a mutiny. He said, I got these guys, and they've always listened, and I'm pushing them, and they're just not responding. He goes, this is the most crazy-ass thing in the world. And I said, Pat, do you really need to be 25% better when you lost in the 7th game by this many points? He goes, no, but I figured if I make it 25, then if we at least get to like 10, that's all we need. I said, the problem is you went past the threshold of their belief. When you go beyond the threshold of what somebody believes, it's over. Raise your hand if you follow what I'm talking about. Because they check out and go, I can't do that, I won't do that, there's no way. He goes, well, if I would have said 10%, they might go for 2%. I said, here's what you do. Can I give you coaching? He goes, yeah. I said, you go back to the team and you apologize. He's Tony, I don't think I like this idea at all. I said, listen to me. Go to them and say, to think that you guys that gave your souls all last year, every game, could do 25% more is complete bullshit. You gave your all. We left it all on the table. We lost in the last game, literally by a few points. It was devastating for everybody. Go back and say, it's stupid of me to do that. I want to apologize. There's no way you could do 25% more. In fact, truthfully, there's not any more anybody here could do. So here's what we're going to do. Let's just do our best. Let's try and duplicate what we did last year and just maybe a little better. And we'll let the chips fall where they may. Now, you say that to world-class athletes who consider themselves to be best in the world, and you go, you can't really get any better. Now what happens? So if I come along, put your fist out. If I come out like this and I push on him, what is he doing? I didn't tell him to push back. Why is he pushing back? That's human nature. I'm pushing hard, he's pushing hard. Now, if one of us misses, we got a challenge, right? So I said, here's what you do. Instead of pushing them for 25%, push them that you know they can't do any better. And any man with his salt, what's he going to do? He's going to push back. So this guy's going, what the hell are you talking about? You're right, 25% is insane, but saying we're not going to improve at all, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now he's got these guys giving him about having low standards. It's the perfect piece. So I said, when they do it, and it's predictable they will, all you got to do is go, okay, you're right. To have no standard is stupid. None of us are about that. Let's just improve a tiny bit. Let's all agree that we'll just improve 1%. 1% in 5 areas of the game. So 1% better in rebounding, 1% better in free throws, 1% more from the floor, 1% better on block shots. 5 elements, 1% better. Now, what are these guys thinking now when he says 1% better? What are they thinking? Too what? Too easy. How many think they're thinking too easy? It's exactly what he said. The majority of them are going, 1%, we can do 10%, we can do 8%, we're not going to do 1%. Now they're telling him they should be doing more than what he's asking. He goes, okay, if you do more, that's your business. All I ask from you is 1% better in each of 5 areas of the game. Now look at the genius of this simple plan. It's based on everything I teach. What's going to happen now? He's got 11 players on the team. If they all get 1% better in 5% of the game, that's 55% better. Truthfully, though, on the floor, there's only 5 players at a time. So 5 players, 5% better each is that's how I came up with the plan. I said, now, by the way, they won't all do that, but even a small number of them do that, you're going to blow your numbers off the roof. And by the way, they went back, played Boston again in the championship, beat their ass. Started the Laker dynasty. It's where it all began.